Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're hanging out with West Coast Joe and East Coast Alex. I'm Joe Leonardo. I'm hanging out with my buddy Alexander Turbin. I'm over here in California on the West Coast, enjoying all the sunshine and all that good stuff. Alex is over there on the East Coast, and we're bringing you all
Where
the
it's
cool
cold.
comics that happen in between. You guys still got snow
Cold.
over there?
Actually, we had a storm yesterday or the day. Actually, it was yesterday. That gave us like 6 inches, I think, something like that. But it's
Oh
almost all
man,
gone now. It's like 40s today, so it's almost all gone. Spring's coming.
it's nice out here. We're having some perfect spring weather kind of days.
What's the temperature there?
Well, it's probably 62.
62. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be nice.
61.
I start
Yeah.
itching about this time of year. I start itching to do my planting for my garden and all that stuff. I asked you before.
Yeah.
You don't have a garden, do you?
Well, I have a certain type of garden I grow every year.
Is that legal there?
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
it's it's totally legal in California
Yeah.
um to grow and
Cultivate.
sell and everything.
Well, I don't sell it, but
Right.
yeah, I
I don't think it's
cultivate it.
yeah, it's legal everywhere to sell it in Maine to sell it because we have um dispensaries like every 100 feet or something like that.
Yeah,
We
they
have like
really is.
massive amount of
Well,
dispensaries.
I live out in the country, so there's one dispensary out here, but I don't go to it, because I just do my own thing or
Right. If you
whatever.
don't need it, yeah, if you don't need to.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
we have like a dispensary like half a mile on my right, like we're on like I go onto the big road, whatever. And then like 400 feet down on the left of that is another dispensary. And then I think there's another one like 400 feet after that. So
that's
they're
crazy. Like
everywhere.
all trying to like compete with it. What's crazy is that they can all stay in business like Starbucks or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's right
Yeah.
across
I
the
mean,
street from each other or whatever.
they must make a lot of money, right?
I mean,
For there
I
to be that
honestly
many.
I don't know, but it's a pretty lucrative field. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't say for sure as far as like what your local businesses are doing or whatever, but I mean, I feel like that's always been a. There's never been too much demand. You know what I mean for people to. It's like everybody has always wanted that. It's not like you had
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
advertise on the internet or something. You know what I mean? Like it's always been a pretty easy thing to get people to come to your doorstep whenever you're doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
In high school, we had this Mitch Mitch something. He was like a big deal senator. I think he was like one of our senators, but he was like one of the big deal ones. And he came to our high school and he was having this talk and like it was an auditorium full of people, 2,000 people, kids or something. And he was taking questions and somebody said, "Do you support legalizing marijuana?" And the whole place erupted into cheers. Whole place, like for 5 minutes, and then like everything could die down. He's like, "No, no, I don't." So
that's
yeah,
funny.
I'm
I,
surprised it's not legal everywhere.
I mean, it's give it some time. It's a pretty
Yeah,
innocuous
yeah,
thing, as long as
yeah,
it's not abused ever. And I mean, there's a lot of worse stuff in the world than that. I
yeah,
personally like. I've always used in small amounts or whatever, and it's just a comforting thing to have around. And that's best when you don't have to pay for it. And then if I do it
yeah,
myself, then I know
yeah.
exactly what's in it, and all that kind of thing.
Do you make
But
oil too?
no, no, I just grow it and smoke it, man. I'm not living in none of those Blade Runner futures where people are like, you go into those places and look
Well,
around, and people, the devices people are using are like,
the
there's
oil
a
is supposed to be like super awesome for like
there's a million ways
uh
to consume it. They cooking it into foods now. You've got
right,
waxes, you've got tinctures, you've got oils. What I mean, you've got extracts. Like they have
right.
machines that burn it at its chemical temperature, so that only the actual like essence of the
Yeah.
THC gets burned and the actual
Right,
plant
right.
leaf
But
just
the
gets like
oil doesn't
ash
have
or whatever.
the oil doesn't like get you high or anything. The oil is just for like pain
Yes, I
management
mean
and
the
all
TB
these
or
other.
whatever the TBH or whatever they call it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some people like if they just want to have the just the medicinal use of it, not none of the
yeah,
like externals or internals. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I think it's a pretty cool natural resource. That the world would be dumb not to utilize in some way, shape, or
yeah,
form.
yeah. Definitely, definitely.
But let's get back on Akira now.
All right, cool.
Uh, so what was your first impression of this thing? Like back when you
So
saw the
I
movie?
loved it. I saw issue number one, and I knew that I knew that I was going to have it. I knew I was going to love it. I, however, don't have the last issues. I don't think I never finished it. Um,
I don't even know how big it
so
is.
that's
How many issues does it take?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe I got all the issues that I could, like 24. I think I got up to 24 or something like that. And then I saw the movie, and I think that might have been like, well, I know the ending, so why keep getting it if I already know the ending,
Well,
even though
the trippy thing is like, this is, I mean, as complex as the movie is, there's so much in this thing that isn't in the movie. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's just
yeah,
acres
definitely.
and acres of story in this thing that never show up in the film. So, I mean, it's trippy because each, they both stand alone. And then, like, okay, like say like right now, I'm reading through Berserk, right?
Yeah,
And that's a freaking bizarre experience, dude. Like,
yeah,
because the one I'm reading, it's not. They didn't do any of the stuff they did on this. Like, they didn't flip it. Um,
yeah.
the one I'm reading, you actually read it for
You
like
go
this or
backwards.
whatever. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, and you read it like
yeah, yeah,
you read it like this or whatever. Then you
yeah,
read it like
yeah.
this. You know what I mean,
Oh,
dude?
yeah. So it's backwards, and it's
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it's
So
freaking. They did that so the art doesn't have any like you know disconnection from what it's trying to do. I know that's
right.
why they did it. That's how it's naturally produced. But you could tell in this stuff and all these, you could tell these have all been flipped. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Like
yeah. I
these.
mean, you're going from front to back, and
Uh huh. So like in
they
the actual
westernized it.
ones, he's on this side and he's on this side. You know what I mean? And there's a
Right.
slight disconnection to the art when they do that, when they flip it like that. You can just tell like sometimes that it's just it feels like it's been handled mechanically or whatever. Like, it just has this feeling of like, this is not quite right, when you're reading it
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like how I feel. Have you noticed that the new international movies that they dub they're using AI to make
I don't like
their
it.
mouths?
I
I
know
don't like it
exactly what
either.
you're talking about.
I don't like it either. Even though their mouths completely match the talking, there's still something wrong about it.
Yeah, well,
And I
the
don't
first
get
of
it.
all, a lot of times the voice acting will be so bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Because they're
true.
using they'll be using a foreign actress, like say it's an Indian film,
Yeah,
and they're translating it to English,
yeah,
and or a Korean movie or something. They're translating it to English, and they'll still have Korean actress doing the lines or whatever.
yeah,
But she'll be performing it in English and not really have a very good, because I think they're then it becomes bizarre, right? Because like they're translating it with their own ideologies of how it should be presented. But then they're saying it in English, but they're using inflections that mean things in Korean or whatever, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Or
yeah.
Indian or whatever, like, so that's where I think the disconnection comes from with that kind of thing,
Well,
because like,
at least when the mouths didn't match, you kind of you understood, you know,
right, I know
everything
what you're saying.
why
Right.
everything was not matching. Now it's
Why
like,
it's not doesn't feel
y-
quite right. Now it's just
yeah,
totally an alien feeling like you're watching
yeah,
freaking propaganda from Mars or something,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
oh man,
bizarre.
that's all
But
funny.
yeah, Akira, as soon as I saw it, I think I saw one of the building pages, dude. I don't know if I have any because I have this is 10. I have 10 and 14 here that I'm looking at, and you have what 24, 22 through something.
Yeah, I have
Um,
like 23 to 25, I believe.
yeah, I gotta find a good building. So when you're looking at the cityscape of like that right there. I mean, that's just freaking crazy. Um, but you looking at the buildings, especially when they start to explode, is just like I could not believe that a person did it. You
To
know?
spend that much time on do that kind of thing, dude.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
exactly what you're talking
I
about, bro.
can't.
Like it's
I guess they don't have any.
extraordinary.
Maybe they slowed down on that after the first. Here's a little bit of one.
Hey, I just want to quick
It's
take a minute and quick and say hi to the couple people that are hanging out with us. Kenneth, NIC, and Kids Q. What is that?
V
Kids
Q
Q5V.
Q5V. Yep,
Thanks for hanging out, you guys. We appreciate you coming by, and thanks for throwing us a couple thumbs up. Appreciate you guys.
like
But
that.
yeah,
That kind of
dude,
stuff
like
right there.
yeah, I know, man. It's so wild looking. Like I, like later on, like you get into the Vegeta and not Vegeta. What am I saying? Um, no, is it Vegeta?
Fajita, the
And
fajitas.
Kaneda or whatever. Like, and
Canada.
they're yeah, and he's like flying or whatever. Like, dude. Oh no, it's Tetsuo, right? That's who it is. It's
Yeah,
Tetsuo and Kaneda.
yeah,
Um, and like when they're having that battle, like in he's flying around and he's like turned into that freaking thing or whatever. Like, some of those building shots of the city, they show are just like,
yeah, yeah. I'm assuming you think that like something like this. You think that's one artist doing that, or you think that's a bunch of artists?
well, I think traditionally in manga, they use like a lot of
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
assistance. You know what I mean? Like, it's a trip, dude, because, like reading Berserk, like I have recently, um, it's funny because, like there's a lot of his art that really reminds me of your art. Like,
Me? Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's because
yeah,
Berserk is pretty well known. A lot of
hang
people
on
love
for a
it.
second. Let me grab this thing real fast.
All right, all right. Because I haven't gotten Berserk. A lot of people really love it. My stepson got one of those big books for Christmas, but I don't know why I haven't thought about getting it. Maybe it's I'm not huge into manga. Like this and Lone Wolf and Cub are really the only things that I really love. Apple, what's that? Apple something. Um, I like, but I mean
Appleseed.
Appleseed. Yeah, Appleseed I
Yeah,
like a
Appleseed.
lot. But I mean this and Lone Wolf and Cub are really the only manga that I really love.
Like, just look at that. Look at that shot right there, dude. Like
Yeah,
that, that or like say like
reminds you
this
of mine.
crowd shot right here. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
dude, that hecka looks like your art.
yeah. Well, I'm okay
He
with it.
does them.
So, do you
You
like
know,
it?
he. I think it's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, like it. The art I love, right?
Not just the art, but the story and everything too.
It's the story is something totally different. Like and we're gonna save that for another time because this is not for
Yeah,
Berserk because there's a lot to get into that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I have a lot to say about that. And
right.
Akira also, I mean, it falls into the same kind of thing. However, it doesn't suffer from it in the way that Berserk does. And like when I say it, what it is going to become instantly apparent to you. Here's one of those building shots you were talking about. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
crazy. Like
Can you imagine drawing that?
so much going on.
Oh, somebody's freaking out.
My brother just walked in the house real fast.
Oh
He's
yeah,
just going and doing
yeah,
some stuff. My little terrier goes crazy anytime someone walks in or walks out. But yeah, it's like I don't, just like you were saying, speaking on a moment ago, I don't like study manga and I'm not a aficionado on it
no,
in any way.
me either.
And really I'm only recently um reading enough of it to where like I'm starting to understand some of the major differences between them and comic books. And like
Yeah,
there's one thing that really stands out, and what it is there's no narrative dialogue in manga.
That's true. That is true.
That's the defining thing,
Yeah.
is that
Now
manga
now
is
that you mention it.
presented it's presented strictly as a visual medium with
Yeah.
speaking characters that are,
Yeah.
that you have to cling to in order to follow the plot line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's strictly
It,
a visual medium.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you say I had never really realized that before. It's
Yeah.
funny because Matt Wagner's Grendel, he like his first one was all narration, and then he's like, the next one is going to be all no narration. It's going to be all dialogue. So the second series is all dialogue, and that was like an intentional thing. So I assume that's an intentional thing with these guys too.
I just think that that's just the way the industry grew, probably, and that just
Yeah,
becomes the standard. And it's the purple prose thing, that American writers have that makes, a comic book versus manga, which is like, it's beat out like more like storyboards for a film,
yeah, yeah,
where the actual dialogue is like written right on there or whatever. All this stuff needs is little arrows to tell you which way the camera is going as it goes
yeah,
across it or something.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
storyboards would have. Like
yeah. That's probably why so many mangas are turned into anime. It's like
yeah,
almost
that's probably
a
true.
foregone conclusion.
But at the same time, and this is a good page like to discuss it on or whatever. You like, I don't know what you're looking at over there, but
Yeah,
even yours is very similar. And what I'm saying is this is there's like I'm looking at page as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, right next to it. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels, right?
yeah,
There's virtually no dialogue at
yeah,
all. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean, dude?
A
Like,
a lot of it is like yelling or like they
mhm.
yell each other's names. You know, they do that in the movie too.
Yeah,
Canada.
yeah. So what you really have to do is it forces you, like, in order to really follow this, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
to stop and look at everything on every panel. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's like it's easy to go like, oh, these guys are fighting, and oh, he ducks and then he hits this guy, and then you just like it's so easy to just slide past it all. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
and
yeah,
like you just slide that, and then slide down this page and be done in 2 seconds. But there's so much that they're asking you to be responsible to stop and notice. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
That a lot of American readers might not take the time to really do that, right? So it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
first, we have this shot here where he's being tripped backwards by this guy and he shoots the gun and then I don't know if he accidentally shoots this guy over here, you know what I mean? But this guy gets all shot up, right? And then
Yeah.
this guy turns or whatever and reacts, oh, like, and then he catches, it looks like to me like he's being shot in the head, but he's still going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think it misses him.
because it shows I guess, even though it shows,
Right.
holes where his head is at, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I
Right.
know that, I guess those are supposed to be fire flares going behind him or whatever from the
Yeah.
bullets,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
to me, it looks like they're going through his head. Um,
Right.
and then, he elbows this guy, and he shoots and misses. And then we have like this weird reaction shot, and then he hits someone. And then we come over here, and then there's like, I don't even know what is happening. This is just hit the guy, he got hit falling down. And then this guy goes, and then now this guy is reaching for the dude that got knocked down. And now we see the guy who's knocked down. And now we see this guy who's like still looking at him. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
something that we don't even know where it's coming from hits him in the head. Like, where has this come from? Nobody threw nothing or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this thing there, it goes plock. And then, you know, and now they're just running away. And he's like, oh, because something hit him. And it's like,
Right.
dude, like all that happens with no dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no narrative to give you nothing through all of it.
Right. Right. But it's not a silent comic either because they have,
No,
grunts and groans and
yeah, it
a
has
little bit
all
of
the sound
dialogue.
effects. It's just like a movie. Like it has all the sound effects. It just doesn't have a soundtrack. I guess the only thing it's
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
But that's a really, like, I don't know. For me personally, it's hard for me to read a comic like this. Like I
Yeah,
have a hard
yeah,
time reading this with no narrative, to, explain to me anything. There's nothing going like, oh, he's taking a moment to think about, all the things that happen and he feels regret, or, you know what I mean?
right,
Like,
right, yeah,
you
oh
just have
yeah,
to read it and decide all that stuff yourself. And I don't know if it works. Like, I really don't think it does.
yeah. And
But
there's also no like thought balloons either.
that's what I mean. Yeah, none of that stuff. None of the
No
what would
narration
they
or
call
thought
it? We
balloons.
call it subtext or whatever. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like
yeah.
no subtext at all. Like um. So I don't know, man. As a kid who grew up reading comics, stuff like this is really hard for me to follow. Because they expect me to just like stop and like notice every little thing on every little page, and it's like it's kind of mundane doing that. And Berserk, dude, suffers from that. Like, it's wild, dude.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
like it's wild, bro. Like,
yeah,
I'm halfway through this thing and nothing has happened almost. I mean, this guy has
yeah,
drawn
yeah, yeah.
200 pages of art, you know what I mean? And
Well,
it'll just
that's
be
why.
like, go ahead.
Yeah, that's also why they have all these speed lines. I mean, they're making you move through the comic book so fast. You
I
know,
mean, dude, like
almost every page has massive speed lines.
it'll be 30 pages of him silently fight, like a bunch of dudes racing through a forest on horsebacks fighting each other. It'll just be like,
Yeah,
oh, here's a sword lance, here's a sword lance, here a sword lance. Oh, he kicked somebody. Oh, that guy fell off his horse. Oh, here a sword lands. You know what I mean, dude? And
yeah,
it'll be
yeah,
like 30 pages of this crap, and I'm just
yeah,
like, what in the hell? Like, there's not even anything here to read. Like, like it's not even reading. You know what I mean? It's just like picture book. And then at the very end of that 30 pages or 40 pages will be a scene of them camping out, and then like it'll just be like, oh, hooray, we won the fight. Oh, guts is so great, or whatever. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. Like they'll all be celebrating and they'll be cheering for him and patting him on his back, and he'll walk off to the top of the woods and stand there, and that'll be the end. And it's like, what? Like, how
So,
is
do
this so
so
weird?
so so do you like it?
Dude, like there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And the art is amazingly cool.
The
You know what I
art
mean?
is
Like
fantastic.
it is, it's freaking fantastic. And, you know, it's, it's trippy. I mean, like I said, it reminds me of your stuff quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and not just like, how he draws his figures and stuff and how the proportions of the characters he draws are, which I find very similar to the thing you kind of do, which if I was in Kintaro's lab, I'd be like, shrink your heads, dude. Fucking like,
drink your
shrink
head.
your heads, bro. Like is what I'd be telling him. But
Yeah,
uh he does kind of the same thing you do too, like where he'll like, he'll deliver like maybe a few panels that are pretty fast and quick that, don't have so much in them. And then he'll stop and give you one that's really got all of it in
yeah,
there and really
yeah.
nice looking, you know what I mean? And like, he does that kind of same thing you do. Like, so, maybe I'm being too hard on you sometimes, Alex.
I think that's
And I'm
it.
like,
I definitely think that's it.
I
Because
want every panel to look, as best as it can be. Every panel's got to be perfect, like, because he'll deliver these panels that are just like fast and quick and a little tight, you know what I mean, but have like a
well,
lot of loose stuff all over them.
I definitely subscribe to the when they introduce a character, they'll have a close up, and they'll put all the detail, or if it's an establishing shot, they'll put massive details into it. But then the next time you see it, it's like it's less detailed because
I do my
you already
own
know
I do my
exactly
own
what it looks
version of
like.
that too. I mean, I think everybody does that. I think,
Yeah,
like I might be like, or some people are a little bit more, I beat myself up over those little shots that are supposed to be loose or whatever, you know what I mean? Because I want
yeah.
them to look as good as the big shot or whatever. But, like I think everybody has to come to terms with all that kind of stuff. But going
Well,
on with the Akira thing here, the colors kind of screw me up on this a little too. And not like I don't like
really,
the colors, because they're pretty beautiful.
I
But I
love the
feel like
colors.
you could just tell this is supposed to be in black and white, you know what I mean? The colors don't feel real natural.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I think the colors
Think
are
so?
gorgeous.
They
I
are really
kind
nice.
of think they're computer colored,
I think they are. They have to be like some of those backgrounds. Like when they do these faded backgrounds like this, that has to be digital blending or whatever.
even
You know
though
what I mean?
it's 80. This came out in '89, and that's pretty early for. This is no, first published in Japan in '84, and then I
You know,
think yeah, and then this came out here in '89. They were originally in black and white, and then they colored
yeah,
them for
that's what
the
I'm
United
saying.
States
It just you
version.
can look at it and just kind of feel it. No, mine is 1990, so that's that's
Yeah.
pretty far along. But
Well, this is
they might not.
14
I mean,
years.
it does look like computer coloring to me. You know what I mean? Like just like this stuff right here, the way it blends or whatever. You know what I mean? That's just like
Yeah.
even the hair right here, the way it's blending from brown to light. You
Yeah.
know, it's just like it. But you know what? To be perfectly honest, I don't think it's Photoshop. It might be something like Illustrator or something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
back this far, you know,
Yeah. But they do a fantastic job for it
they
being
do. They do. I have
computer
no complaints
colored.
about the color or the way it looks. It just kind of throws me off a little bit because I'm used to seeing this kind of thing in black and white or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like if they colored Lone Wolf and Cub. You know, it'd be like how weird would that be or whatever. You know,
Right. Yeah.
like if
Yeah.
they like if they colored Lone Wolf and Cub digitally. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could see someone wanting to like I would almost like, oh man, that's now that oops, I'm sorry. Now that I've said this, I might have it in my head now. But wouldn't it be cool
Like,
if someone took some Lone Wolf and Cub and printed it up on Bristol and then colored it with watercolors? You know,
if we could get Lynn Varley to do it, that would be insane.
I'm gonna do it. You could do it, dude. Your watercolors
uh,
on frickin' Morgan were gorgeous, dude.
Thank you. But
I
yeah,
thought
no, I wouldn't want to do that. I would
I
feel
would
too
love to
much.
see somebody do it. I would love to see
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
do that. So we got any coast to coasters out there that want to take up the challenge of like printing up some Bristol and getting some nice Lone Wolf and Cub shots on there. I know we all have our Lone Wolf and Cubs. I know it's dreadful to take it down to the print store and have them like print a couple pages out, but wouldn't that be cool to see the like someone do like a beautiful watercolor of like the first issue or something like that? I would love
Right.
to see that,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially if it was like someone with real like merit, like uh oh, who am I thinking of? That chick artist. God, I can't think of her name right now, but man, she just does the most gorgeous freaking watercolor stuff. Like
The
this
Japanese,
Japanese. Yeah.
the one that turned all the Marvel characters into
Yes.
Japanese
Yeah,
characters,
I can't think of what her name
Peach
is right now.
Momoko.
Yeah, Peach Momoko. Yeah, like
Yeah.
God, you imagine Peach Momoko
Yeah.
watercoloring the first, issue
Lone
of
Wolf
Lone
and
Wolf
Cub.
and Cub.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I'd be into that.
Um,
But yeah, I
I
found
think
reading this really strange.
even like you saw you did you pick this up and then watch the movie and then pick some more of these up, or did
No,
you
I had seen the
watch the
movie,
movie?
and then I knew the movie was based on the manga, and this is the first time I had ever come across it, and I just bought as many as I could get my hand on at the time, and then
Yeah.
instantly was like, I don't get this at all. I
Yeah.
remember like I was reading this last night and just having flashbacks of like remembering like reading this for the first time and being like, I don't get this, like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing is way outside my window. But you know what did dawn on me when I was checking this out last night was how much okay, so like okay. So like Frank Miller is like my window through this is what I'm gonna say right now. Is like okay,
Yep.
like say when Frank Miller first appeared on the scene, he didn't draw anything like he does now. He drew like Neil Adams
Yeah. Yeah.
or like John Romita.
Yeah.
And if you look at his like first work he did, like, and it's on John Carter of Mars. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those, but Frank Miller's very first work for Marvel was a John Carter of Mars issue,
Right.
and he looks very John Romita. You know what I mean? It looks very like that era or whatever, and it's pretty nice. You know what I mean? The figures are really feathery and you know, it looks nothing like his work later becomes. You can see the elements of it in the early Daredevil stuff, but he whittles it out pretty fast. And then his art turns into this. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
it just happens out of nowhere. And the real, like placeholder is the Dark Knight or whatever. It's like first there's Ronin or whatever,
Do you have Ronan?
I don't like. I never even read it because it was just too
Yeah,
bizarre for me. Like I was an
yeah,
art guy, and I was almost like a little upset at him for going down that route, because like I was already like okay, like when he first popped up and everyone was like, "Oh, Frank Miller is this rad new artist." I looked at his art and didn't think it was very good,
right.
because I'm a line work guy. Like I like the Al Williamson thing or whatever. Like like that's what I want. I want the Alex Raymond thing. And his stuff was already, by the time he got on Daredevil, it was already flatting out. He was already getting into a more graphic style. The characters were getting, like more stockier built. Like when I think of John Romita Jr., I would say 80% of his style is like the early Frank Miller stuff. It's like he was so influenced by Frank Miller. And it's like Frank Miller transitions from that into like, this manga style so fast. And when I was a kid, you know, watching his career, I didn't understand that. Like that wasn't what I thought was happening. You just thought like, oh, well, he's
Like that.
working on a style or he's trying to find a style or whatever. But I was getting more and more frustrated with his style. Like I didn't like how he just kept getting like looser and looser and how his characters kept getting more and more disproportioned. And then he stops, like, um, he's not laying things out. They don't have proper perspective. He stops worrying about any of that stuff. He just starts just going for it art wise or whatever. Like you look at like the Dark Knight and there's not a ton of like real perspective in that thing. You know what I mean? It's all just like super hyper realized, reality, what I mean? Through a crazy like manga lens, like some of those shots of the buildings rising up, or when he shows like the bat signal on the Twin Towers or whatever, it's like, dude, like it's beautiful and fantastic and over the top, but at the same time, like it was like slightly just beyond me to grasp, I guess is like the
Yeah,
right word I'm
yeah,
thinking of. But it's like when now that I'm older and I'm looking at all this stuff again with a grown man's eye or whatever, and someone who's consumed a lot of stuff, you start to see like the pattern of it, like how he's being introduced. Like I want to say it's probably when he comes across Lone Wolf and Cub, and that's probably the big thing or whatever that just shifts
yeah,
his whole idea of
yeah,
what a
yeah.
comic could become or could be. And then it just completely shifts to this manga thing. And then, it stays there for a very long time, I think, until we get to the Sin City and like 300 stage or whatever, when he
He
starts.
definitely has. He definitely has his periods of work where his style is completely different, which I enjoy that. I like that about him. Um, Ronan is certainly this kind of stuff. It's Lone Wolf, like this hatching kind of stuff is going on in, like, that
Yeah.
is all over Ronan. But Ronan has a like a 5 page pull out thing. So I think you'd love that.
What is it? What is it of?
So it's like a 5 page um, spread, five
I know,
page
but what
spread.
is it? What is it? What
It's
is it? What's happening?
it's the destruction of the city, I think.
Oh, okay. Those are hard. That's even harder. Like when you're like doing a whole like whatever like vista shot, of a city in
Yeah,
widescreen or
yeah,
something like that. Like
yeah. I think it's because the main bad guy kind of blows everything up.
like I don't want to
Kind
do
of,
a
kind
panel
of.
of that stuff, much less 3 pages of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
It's fantastic. I think you would really like it.
oh, I
I
bet I
don't know.
would.
That's
Well,
not
dude,
sure. I'm not
I
sure.
loved any time people, go over the top with their aesthetic.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I personally love that.
But
Um,
yeah, yeah, it is completely different than his style in uh, Dark Knight and in Daredevil.
just like look at that city, like right there. And just like
Yeah,
just sprawling or whatever. You know what I mean? And that's just like one panel.
that's awesome.
It's
That's
crazy.
awesome. Yeah,
Like
yeah. That must be towards the end. I
well,
think there
this
might
is
be
it.
30.
This is 23.
23. I think it goes
Yeah.
up to 30 something, but I'm
But
not
some of the
entirely sure.
colors in this are beautiful. Like I love the color palette of all the purples and stuff.
Yeah.
It just feels so odd, like. But Tomo
Well,
is
it
crazy, dude. Like, this stuff is just like, it's okay. Here we go. Here's one right here.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. That
dude,
like the first 5 or 6 issues is all of that. Like all of the books are all that.
that's wild, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I
Dude,
can't even
what?
imagine. That's like 10 times Jeff Darrow's doing stuff, and he's crazy with the amount of detail
Yeah,
that he puts in his stuff.
it's just I mean, I see how he approaches it, because it's like, he's got these like geometries or whatever, and he's like, okay, here's a square, and here's a square, and here's a square, or whatever, and there's a block of squares, and then we're gonna turn this square on its side, and then slowly they turn into all the devastation. Then he just like comes in here and fills up these edges, you know what I mean, with all the
Yeah,
debris or whatever. Like, dude, like that. Some of that stuff in there. Like, I wonder what size these are drawn at. Like I wonder how
that's a
big they
good
are or
question.
whatever, or how small they are.
I
And
I
I
want to
wonder if,
say manga is smaller than regular comic book.
yeah, you would think, especially because, like, I mean, it's hard to know, but I mean, how could they do stuff like this on a weekly basis? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
who could turn out work like that every week?
yeah, yeah. That's nuts.
I don't
I think it's
understand that.
I think it's a team. I think it's a team effort.
Got to be at
Like,
least 5 or 10 guys. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. I think
to
so.
do this every week.
Yeah, and then
See,
it's
like
almost
Berserk
like the
will,
director.
yeah, like, or he's laying it all out real fast or something, and someone else is coming in and doing finishes up behind him or something,
Yeah,
and then 4 other people are inking. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And they
but
all
you'd
kind
think
of
there
have the
would.
same similar styles. So
That's the same. That's what I was just about to say. You'd think there would be more style like deviation if that had that many different people like inking this stuff or something. It's really imperceptible and hard to say. I think all the mangas are a bit like that. Like
yeah,
they all kind of want to present like it's just one guy or whatever. Like One Piece kind of like always presents itself like, oh, it's just one guy. Kintaro is like, oh, it's just one guy. But I think it's like it's one guy's vision, but
yeah,
many people
yeah,
help them to accomplish it or whatever.
yeah. I think so
Yeah,
too.
remember we talked about like people's deep space scenes, like, and how like they do deep space or whatever. Like
Yeah, yeah.
because the way people do
I
space is like just as different as how they do trees or anything. Like,
I think the biggest reason I'm not a big manga person is the speed lines. It's
yeah,
too
that
much.
doesn't take me out of it. Like, I like that. What about an entropy alliance in this issue? Have you looked at any of that? Like, because there's a big sequence in the middle where it's all speed lines.
Is it?
Yeah, have you not looked at that yet?
Friggin' speed lines. No, I haven't
No,
seen
I
it
mean,
yet. But
like, it
that's
just,
like
I
that's
mean,
like one part. Whereas
I
this
get
is
it.
like everything. Every page
Yeah, yeah.
has it.
Like, I'm just saying, like, speed lines, it's like, it just depends on how you use it. Like, I always liked Rob Liefeld, and like how he used speed lines or whatever, like,
Yeah.
but I have a sequence in, the latest issue or whatever, and all the panels are just like supposed to be two people who are a blur, what I mean, like moving through a
Right.
building really
Right.
fast or whatever. So, the panels are mostly just speed lines. And I was like, when I was drawing the stuff, I was like trying to show like the movement of the characters, the direction of the characters, and show like
Right.
give you like an idea of, like, I did it through color. Like one of the characters is represented by pink and one of them is like green and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like, doing something like that is kind of challenging, like anytime you have to use like, a lot of like that kind of strange thing, because it could overwhelm the look like really fast or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
But I don't
I,
hate
it's
this,
just
like,
it's just I don't dislike speed lines. I like speed lines. It's just they use it too much. in my
It's
opinion.
yeah, it's a common effect for these guys. I mean, boy, in Berserk, it's a lot of that, man. Like,
Yeah,
and he goes crazy with it because he really tries to do his own thing, where he'll put speed lines on the like thing in the person's hand. You know what I mean? Like, it won't just be like, oh, he's swinging a sword and there's speed lines. Like, he'll make the whole sword up of speed lines. You know,
yeah,
like he'll break it up
yeah,
into
yeah,
nothing but speed lines or whatever. You know, or like if
yeah,
someone is being kicked in the face, he'll make the leg into nothing but speed lines. You know, like it's a trippy effect. I mean,
yeah,
it looks
yeah.
cool, but it's can be hard to interpret exactly what's taking place. Often I find myself having to like really stop and reassess what's taking place, you know, and then I'll have to look at it 3 or 4 times before I really, just like the page I was talking, this page right here we were talking about with the guy who's like, you know, all this stuff is happening. You know, often I'll have to like go over it several times to really feel like I have a solid grasp of what's taking place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
nothing is being explained to me. You know what I mean? It's all just like, oh, I think, oh, this guy's got hit in the eye, and oh, now they're jumping off a ledge, and oh, he's upset about it for some reason. You know what I mean? It's
Well,
just like,
you read the what's gone before, right?
yeah,
It it didn't
but
help.
it's just like, well, I mean, I seen the movie,
Right.
uh, and I read these pages or whatever, but it's like it starts in such an esoteric place, and there's like 4 storylines going on at the same time, and all 4 storylines have half a dozen characters in them, and they're all
Yeah.
converging very fastly, and I have no idea what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know any of the characters other than the ones I know from the film. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's incredibly confusing, and I could not understand any of it really. And then
I
even
think
on
I
top of
need to
all
watch the
that,
movie again.
there's no character motivation and stuff for me to understand. I don't know when they're angry or anything because like
Yeah.
all the faces always look the same, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this guy, you know, this scene where he's in repose and this scene where he's yelling with a rock in his hand, his face looks almost exactly the same in both of them. You know what I mean,
Yeah.
dude? Like, you
Yeah.
know, like, so there's a big disconnection that takes place in this stuff for me as far as the story being told. I don't really feel a lot of the emotional impact. And, you know, it just like it slips by. It just slips by like water where I feel like I'm not absorbing it, you know, like,
Like you missed something.
yeah, like it just like, you know, there's just they're not giving me enough to cling to because I'm used to
Yeah.
reading, you know, like, and
Yeah.
there's so much of
Yeah.
this is just looking at a picture book, like, you know,
Right.
you
Right.
won't go through 6 pages, you know what I mean? I'm just looking at it like a picture book before they all start to speak again, you know, and that's very
Yeah.
odd to
Yeah.
me, you know, like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard reading that way, unless you're really engrossed into the story and you like have picked it up from the very beginning and you know exactly what's going
yeah,
on
yeah,
and
you're
who
following
everyone
along
is.
meticulously. I'm sure it's very engrossing, and that's the way most people are experiencing it in its raw form. You know what I mean? Like if you're getting this in your Shonen Jump or whatever every week, you know what I mean? You're getting it weekly, and you're absorbing it every week, and you know that's how
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean, it's a fantastic piece of work. I mean, obviously the art is outrageous. You know, he's so good. Like it's insane that people could turn out this level of work on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's nothing, you know, there except for compliments about the insane amount of, you know, labor being put into the story. And then, you know, even the story itself is, you know, it's human and it's, you know, cyberpunk. And I mean, would there be a Blade Runner and things like that without Akira? You know what I mean? Or is Akira, you know, like influenced by Blade Runner? Like, you know, like which one, you know, which one is the chicken and which one is the egg? You know what I
When
mean?
did
Like,
Blade Runner come out?
I think Blade Runner is like 1984 or 83.
Yeah, this first was put in 84. So I think they're just being influenced by the same kinds of things.
Yeah, like you know, it's all well, like Mobius and freaking
Yeah. Yeah.
like the In Call and freaking what's the other one I'm thinking? Like Fritz Lang's Metropolis, you know, the black and
Yeah.
white
Yeah.
movie that you know everybody is inspired.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
there we
man,
go.
Akira, very esoteric and hard for uh, Caucasian white dude like me to really wrap his head around that. You know, like, a huge fan of the art, and the film is like it's untouchable. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's just take a moment to talk about the movie. You know, like,
It's
um,
easily my favorite. Well, I don't know. Princess Mononoke is probably my favorite, but Akira is a close second, if not tied to it.
dude, it's a trip. Like, I don't know how recently you've seen that movie, but like,
It is amazing.
I watched it like maybe a year ago, right? And I hadn't seen it for a while.
Yeah.
I had not stopped and watched it since I was a kid or whatever. And I've seen it, a handful of times, maybe 7 or 8 times. And man, dude, when I was watching it that last time, I was really noticing how it just doesn't look like anything else out there. Like nothing looks like Akira, and it
Yeah.
doesn't move
Yeah.
like anything else out there. Like it's not animated like anime, like it's not animated like that. Like it doesn't look like anime when you look at it. The
Yeah.
figures don't move like figures do in anime,
No,
and
because they
they're
turn
just,
around.
yeah, they're it's way closer to Disney. Like it's
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the way the
Yeah.
figures move around and the way the camera moves around is way closer to something Disney is doing, but it's even more of what Disney does than Disney does, Like
Yeah.
there's like and I don't think they're rotoscoping either because it doesn't feel like rotoscoping. I can usually tell when people are rotoscoping in a animation like Fire and Ice or like Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's got a
I don't know,
certain look.
man, but they're working on a high wire level of perfection in that film. Like it's just like it completely is. It's just really its own thing, man. Like it's a trip because like I was just really tripping out on how it is like the Godfather of all anime, almost,
I would think
but
so.
but it doesn't look like nothing has gotten to that level again. And I don't know if they just did it by accident or you know what I mean, but just like all the artists were just pushing so hard that it got to that kind of level. But like it just looks
Maybe
insane,
it's
like
maybe it's the amount of money that they put into it is more
yeah,
than
yeah,
some of
man.
the other stuff.
It's everything. It's not just like any one thing, and it's specifically I'm speaking of like the way it moves. Like the figures move
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
impeccably real in that thing. It's eerie, man. It is
Yeah.
eerie how real they move in that thing, and some of those sequences, like when Tetsuo is first gets inoculated with the Akira virus or whatever, and he's
Yeah.
having those hallucinations of the walking teddy bear, in the hallway, that scene I'm talking about, where it's like,
Right. Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah, the music doesn't hurt either. I mean, it's friggin'
oh man,
insanely awesome.
yeah, that,
Yeah, yeah. I
freaking
think that
dude,
that might be in my top 10 soundtracks. Top 5 maybe. I don't
that
know.
movie is
I'd have to think
outrageous.
about
And the
that.
first time you watch it, isn't it just like your brain explodes the first
Yeah,
time you see
yeah,
that movie,
yeah.
dude?
That whole biker scene in kind of towards the beginning with the clown bikers, and I mean it's
uh-huh.
just nuts.
And it
It's
all
just
has
nuts.
like the Japanese like war drums to it, like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, dude, like oh my
yeah.
god, man. Like and
It's
then all
definitely
the light
mind blowing.
trails, light trails pouring off of all the bikes and stuff. Like that
Yeah,
thing is just like it's extraordinary. It's
yeah,
extraordinary, because like say something like Akira, like the manga, which is so revered, and you think, oh, they're going to do an anime of it, or they're going to do a manga film, and you think, oh, it's not going to touch based on how good the manga is. But then Akira is the rare scenario where it genuinely does, though. You know what I mean? Like it might even be better than the manga, the film or whatever.
um, that's a hard one.
Yeah,
That's super difficult because you've got the insanely detailed buildings and stuff, and it's taking they're condensing 30, 40 issues down
yeah,
into a 2 hour movie.
an under three
So
hour movie, and somehow that
yeah,
movie feels so dense. It feels like it's 4 hours long. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you ever have that experience where you think a movie is like insanely long and then you look
Oh,
like
definitely.
like when I was a kid, like I thought like I saw Excalibur in the theaters like a handful of times, because I just loved that stuff. and
Yeah.
it felt like a 3.5 hour long movie, dude. Like I just
I'm
thought it was so
exactly the
long.
same way with
And when
with
you go back, I
Excalibur.
don't even think it's 2 hours long, dude. It's like one
Yeah.
hour and like 54 minutes or something like that.
It's just, but it's the way it makes you feel that
Yeah,
like all of this grandiose kind of stuff is
hmm
happening, and you're going on this massive journey.
yeah.
Lord of the
And you're
Rings is like
absorbing
that,
so much.
even
Like
though
every second, you're
it is
absorbing
long.
something. Like
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But Lord of the Rings
definitely.
is 3 hours long. By the time that thing's over, you feel like you've
It
done the
is.
trip.
So that that makes sense that it's that long.
But I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's like you're talking about, like with Akira, they put 30, issues of information into a 2.5 hour film and just like cover everything somehow. And, like, dang, that movie is just like wild. Like, I love Princess Mononoke too. Like, I mean, the Studio Ghibli stuff is untouchable, like, I once a year I will sit and watch everything he's done. Like I'll go through his whole collection or whatever and just like sit through them or whatever. Because I love all his films, dude. Like
What's
I
your
forget.
favorite? What's your favorite
Well,
Ghibli
I
movie?
think I like most people. It's either I'm a toss up between like Totoro and and Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away. Those are probably his best. Most commercial ones that are really good. But like Porco Rosso is kind of like a brilliant gem that nobody watches, no one talks about,
Right. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
all Porco Rosso is like it's almost like Casablanca or something, you know what I mean? Like it's like more like the Maltese Falcon or Casablanca or something like that
Yeah.
than it
Yeah.
is like any of his other films. Like it's not even anything like the only thing like magical in that movie is like the slightly eerie like elements of like the things are like the ships they're flying aren't quite real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're based on real planes, but they're not quite real. There's a slight fantasy to it. And then the fact that the character is like a cursed man who's a pig, like other than
Yeah.
that, it's a pseudo political drama about, like air pirates during, the end of World War II or whatever, you know what I mean? You could easily put Humphrey Bogart in that movie and not miss a blink.
Right. Right. I think it's whatever movie you see first is probably going to be your favorite of his.
Yeah,
Kind of like a
he's got
song, like songs. Like the first song I hear from a group is usually my favorite of theirs
right.
for the
Like your
most
favorite
part.
Kiss song is Party All
Yeah.
Night or Every Day
Right.
or whatever.
Right. Right. Whatever you hear
Or God
first
is
is going to
Funny.
be it. Right. Yeah.
It's like the very
All
first
right.
ones you ever laid that on.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's cool, man. Like Atomo, you can see he's a little bit outside our wheelhouse, and I think he's just one of those guys that's like outside everybody's wheelhouse as far as how talented he is. You know what I mean? Like,
It's just
who the heck
amazing.
ever, who could ever expect to get that good in their life? You're either born with that measure of talent inside you, like Frank Frazetta or something like that, or you just have to sit back and understand that certain things are unattainable for us mortals. Like
Just keep trying. Just keep on
yeah, never gonna
trying.
get there. Just keep on drawing. And I mean, Berserk is a real good version of that because I mean, his work grows a lot as it's going along, and it gets more and more fantastic as it goes. But in the beginning, it's not that spectacular, and it's just some guy drawing a story, just like any of us.
Yep. Yep. And
Just like
who
any of us.
knows how great the thing is going to be.
Yeah, and you just got to keep at it. Just keep trucking away until you've said what you have to say about it. Is what I think. Like,
Yeah.
or you get bored with it and want to do something else. Like. But I mean, that's like when you get that to that level of like commercial success, and you get locked into something even if you don't want to be. You know what I mean? Like, who knows if the guys that do One Piece or Berserk or any of these things really want to see them finish? They just like like JoJo's Bizarre Circus or whatever, or what is it, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures or whatever, or like any of those real
Something
popular
like that.
ones.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
And they reach a point to where they're so famous for their work that they just have to like, oh well, I've got to complete this for the people who obsess over it or whatever. But you might
Yeah.
already have moved on to something totally different in your head, like
Unless
mm,
you're George R. Martin, who's like, screw you guys. I'm not going
Well,
to
he
finish it. Screw
continues
you.
to work, and that. I mean, he gave us like the Duncan and Egg story and stuff. So he's continuing to work in the field. Like just struggling with
Right.
finishing up. He's
His
reached a
last
level
book,
where
though.
people have like it's just like the Dark Tower, dude. Like no, nothing is gonna make people happy. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
you reach
Yeah.
such a huge expectation, and you reach a point to where like no one could, you can't rate something that's gonna make everybody pleased. Like it's just not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
That's true. That's true.
So you just got to bite the bullet and just do what you thought you have to be true to yourself. You know what I mean? And not
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
writing it just to appease the audience or anything like that. Just appease yourself. And, when you look at it, because like I've written a couple of books, they're unpublished, obviously, but I do sit back and read them. And anytime the power is out in the house, my family will bust the books out and we'll all read them out loud because my family are all characters in the books and stuff, because you write about the things
Yeah.
and even though they're fantasies, and they're horror adventures and all this kind of stuff, um, ultimately every time I read them, I'm so satisfied and I love the books. Like I don't know if anyone else would ever read them and love them as much as I do, but like they service everything I love about a story or whatever because I wrote it. You know what
Right.
I mean? So
Right.
whenever I sit down and read it, I'm always like, oh, God, I made all the right choices and I did all the right decisions and I love this book, like, because I wrote it for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
More than anybody
Yeah.
else in the world, like it's like Lord of the Rings. Like he didn't write Lord of the Rings for an audience, J.R.R. Tolkien never even thought anyone would read that book. It was just a hobby he did for himself, for pure joy, like,
Right.
and it's written completely with his aesthetic. I mean, who blows up the Death Star and then just keeps writing? You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, and then Luke and Leia got home. Oh, and then there was like stormtroopers at their house, and then they had to spend 6 weeks killing stormtroopers when they got home. And oh wait, by the way, this story still doesn't end. Like the story, like that, like the Hobbit ends and then goes on till they're all in their 80s.
Yeah, that's pretty much how the movie felt. A lot of people make fun of
So
it for that, but
it's bizarre. Like no one does that in a book. Like that's not
yeah,
something you do in books. You know what I mean? That's because that book was written for him. You know what I mean? And nobody
yeah,
else. Really.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I always approach art like that. I always say, service your, the things that make you happy and make you feel like it's good. And if other people, vibe on it, then that's fine too. But at least you've serviced your own ideas.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
So how is Morgan Part 2 coming along? Have you got that whole story ironed out? Or are you like
Yep, it's all done, and I'm about ready to print it. Just kidding. I've got like 4 or 5 pages, but I'm working on all kinds of other stuff. Random access stuff and the 1900s horror and
I saw
more
that you have more of
crawl.
the forlorn
What's it?
story going on in random access. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to
that's
see
that's
that.
all stuff that I did a while ago, and then I'm just coloring it. So this is like stuff that I did like 15 years ago, something like that, maybe even longer than that. But it gives me the time to work on the other stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
dude,
good.
that's it's super cool. And then people get to experience or whatever. I,
Yeah,
man, I'm just slow, dude. Like, I got stuff like that I could get together and put in there, man. But it's just like, oh, dude, it's just hard for me to break off and do so. Like, I have that army guy thing. It's like I haven't even touched that in forever. I
yeah,
got so much
yeah,
old stuff like that I could redo in ink, and I just lag because like I get all tied up and working on what I'm working on or whatever, and
yeah.
then it's like I can't even like get my brain off of it or whatever. But yeah, I have new pages of Entropy Alliance number 3. You guys, we're on number 3 now. Two's coming at you very soon, and the colorized version number 1's coming. And
I think by
yeah,
the end of this month,
is that right?
one and two, we'll have them.
Right
I'll have them
on.
ready.
As a matter
We'll
of fact,
start a Kickstarter.
I was going to put in orders so that even beyond the Kickstarter, I want to order like 15 copies of each. I'm thinking, or probably
Yeah,
like 20 copies of 2 and 15 copies of 1 or something like that. And I'll pay you
yeah,
all up front for it.
cool.
And we'll figure out how to print it. Like, try and figure out like the best way. Cause you know what I mean? Like, you might have to try a couple of different ways. I'm not sure if the high glossy or if the freaking the stock paper. Like I don't never know which one exactly is best. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
just depends on the medium, like or what the colors look like. Like sometimes like the pen colors like mine, don't look as good on the glossy paper as like a computer
Right.
does, or what
Yeah.
I mean, or
Yeah.
sometimes the
No.
computer doesn't look as good on a flat paper as the pen does, or
Yeah.
so try a couple different ways. I know you'll
Yeah.
find the best one or whatever.
Oh, I will. I will. So I guess that's it. That's our
All
rant
right,
for
well,
the
you guys
day.
hung out with us today, and we talked about Atomo, and oh my gosh, we're at 1 hour and 8, 9, 10 seconds. Not too bad.
Good.
Um, that's how we do it right there, keeping it that tight hour.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
Julian R., creator of Six Lords of Sound, Heavy Metal Superheroes in Space. Alexander Turbin and I are the creators of Entropy Alliance. Entropy Alliance 1 out now. Entropy Alliance 1 in color coming soon. Entropy Alliance 2 in color coming soon. And Entropy Alliance 3 is on the freaking construction blocks. Alexander Turbin's the creator of Morgrim, the Savage Cyclops, and the creator of
Random
Random Access,
access.
which is becoming one of the like really just dependable underground independent books that you can get your hands on right now. I mean, Random Access has been coming out just solid, 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 like
Up
right,
to issue
one
40.
after another, like tons of good artists. It's really just gotten like it's improved like tenfold, 10 times since like it's begun, and really getting like a level of influential artists in there doing some of their very best work. I know that one's got color stuff from Jamie Barrows's Bad Street, and that's
Yeah.
super popular.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That looks
can't
awesome.
fall asleep on a little ad for upcoming Entropy Alliance. You got the Further Adventures of Slug Boy from the
That's
very popular Paul Courtjohn. Yeah,
yep.
full color Bad Street for the first time ever. Don't even fall asleep on that one. That is so badass. Bad Street, one of the super popular strips that came over from the Red Books from Soaked in Blood, which is another earlier edition of stuff that we've all worked on together. And just nonstop fun stuff in there. And especially, the Alexander Turbin stuff and the Aster D stories that people are really going to start coming out. Wait till you guys see Aster D's like Buck Rogers script. Is he doing that for
I
Random
think so.
Access? Oh
I don't
man,
know. I
that
don't
dude
know.
is so cool looking. And like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't
He's
wait to see
awesome.
him print those out and get that stuff done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of cool art, a lot of cool comic book creators, a lot of cool, comic book artists, all working hard, making a lot of cool comic books. And that's what Alexander Turbin and I are. So if you want to support independent comic books like the upcoming Entropy Alliance and like Morgan the Savage Cyclops, pop on over and give us a follow and a like. Uh, we're always looking for people to leave comments, and we love to hear what you guys think about the stuff. We're just a couple comic book dudes and comic book nerds that like to talk comic books. So anytime you want to like stop and give us a word, we really appreciate that very much. And next week, we'll be back next time with more cool stuff about comics from all over the world. Who knows where we'll land next time or what we'll be looking at. But we appreciate your support very much. Like, follow, and subscribe to Alexander Turbin's YouTube channel. And we'll be back for you next time. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here, Alex?
Nope. I think that's it. Let's give them their marching orders.
Keep on creating.